Now, there aren't many cars that can do this. Start your car from the app. That's pretty cool. This is the Volvo XC40. Now, Volvo actually released the XC40 around about 2017, 2018, and I wanted to check Volvo out and actually see what their entry-level SUV is like against the competition. And I've been using this car for the past week, so let's check it out. Now, car manufacturers have a lot of models these days. So this being the entry-level SUV, it kind of sits around the BMW X1, the Volkswagen Tiguan, and of course Mercedes GLA mark. And they are all around about the same price, starting from, that is. So the starting price of this one is £35,254. But keep an eye out on Volvo's packages. They have Core, Plus, and Ultra, whereas this one I believe is probably more around the £43,000 mark, the one I have here today. So starting on the exterior, basically Volvo have these kind of LED lights that go across here with this kind of reverse T kind of formation. And yes, of course, the indicators are built into them as well, so they kind of look a bit like this. Now, when it comes to the paint option that I have here, I thought I'd share the colour, because I know a lot of you do ask about what the actual colour is of the car that I'm reviewing. So this one here is called Vapor Grey. And it's one of 9 colours you can choose on the XC40, but I love the descriptions. So the description, a solid effect metallic in neutral grey with a misty touch inspired by windswept Scandinavian limestone houses. Kind of makes you want to go there. But actually, I really like this colour because it almost kind of has this like flat grey kind of look to it, but it is metallic at the same time. And I love the colour contrast between the black mirrors, the black frames, and of course the lighter colour on the paint. And even down here as well, just accents of black everywhere, including on the grille. I think it's a really good colour combo. Now, when it comes to dimensions, I've included all 4 that I just mentioned a minute ago. So, of course, the Volvo XC40, length 4,440mm, width 2,034mm, and height 1,652mm. Now, the boot is a very respectable 443 litres, as you see right here. However, if you do fold the seats down, it will go to over 1,300. I've never seen this before. Volvo have a trick up their sleeve. So if you notice like this thing here, there's like this kind of rubber handle thing. You might be wondering, what on earth does that do? Well, actually, this is the cool thing. If you lift this up and fold it in half and pop it in that section there, you now have 3 hooks for bags just like this. Now that is a genius idea, because quite often when you have like a fairly large boot like this, you'll put like, I don't know, a couple of bags in there, milk, eggs, and they can roll around a bit. It depends obviously how fast you drive, but yeah, look at that. That's a genius idea. But yes, also a flat floor as well, which is really, really good for loading for pets or, you know, pushchairs or just anything really. You don't have a lip to have to lift over the side here. Hey guys, just a quick one before we jump into the rear seats. Make sure that if you're loving this video, you hit that subscribe button down below. I cover all sorts of car manufacturers currently, and of course produce tutorials on them as well. So if you love the videos, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It is completely free. Right, rear seats. All right guys, so, well, I've got to say this is actually a lot roomier than I thought it was going to be. This is actually, like, literally a couple of minutes ago was the first time I've sat in the back of this car. So obviously I've been driving all this time. This is set up for my driving position. I am 6'2", long legs, shorter body. But yeah, it has quite a lot of height. I'd say you can get, yeah, 4 fingers above my head, which is pretty good. And considering this car also has a rather nice panoramic sunroof as well, with a blind, which is probably controlled at the front. In terms of everything else, let's have a look in here. Let's go around this way. So we have 2 cup holders here, and obviously that's the through-load storage there. The nets on the back of the seats, so this is obviously for storage there as well. Vents. Let's see, is that 1 or 2? 2 USB-C ports in there. Heated seats for the rear. Now that is a rarity, so obviously that's again probably an option, so obviously double check which package you're going for. But yeah, you can actually get heated seats in the rear, which is rather nice. Now, when it comes to build quality in the back, again, really nice. For a car this kind of price range, there are a few plastics in the back. That is, of course, to be expected. You know, it can't always be leather because otherwise it would just push the price up of cars. But you'll find the plastics usually on the bottom of the doors, kind of on this section here as well, and in the center console on the back of the seats. But everything else is really nice. You've got these kind of squidgy kind of seats here, leather on the outside, and this kind of like suede material, which is actually very similar to my own car, but these are actually softer. So yeah, I do quite like these. Right, let's have a look at the front. Okay guys, so interior design first. So this is of course what it looks like in the XC40 as shown here. We've got a portrait multimedia screen here, which I'll touch on in a minute, with a few buttons down here for next track, previous track, and play, pause and volume. 2 USB-C ports down there. There's a 12-volt socket, wireless charging in this particular car, and then there's storage in there for coins, 2 cup holders, gear stick, handbrake or parking brake, and an auto hold feature, which is pretty cool. And then this is a built-in bin. So if you are one of those people who seem to have rubbish always in your car, for me, I always chuck it in the kind of door cards on the side here, and then if I remember I'll take it out. But yeah, there's a dedicated bin in this one. It does like to take your finger off when you put something in. It kind of almost closes on your hand. But having said that, if you open this up, not only have I got my cable in there and there's more storage in there, this is your bin. So yeah, literally that's the bin for on the inside of here. So yeah, pretty cool. Then round on the door cards, so on the actual door itself, nice big storage on there, although I would describe it as kind of really long but not very wide. Having said that, still good, and there's obviously storage here as well. So when it comes to build quality, there is plastic on the bottom of the doors here, and I'd probably say just along the center console here, and yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just literally there and there. Everywhere, oh, and maybe here on this bit. But everywhere else is all squidgy leather materials. Even up here, because this top bit looks like plastic, but it's not. It's actually like really, really squidgy. The only other thing I'd say as well is the in the middle here is all high gloss black. Now I'm not a huge fan of high gloss black because number one, it looks really dusty when the sun shines on it if you haven't, you know, wiped your surface for a little while. But also it's like a fingerprint magnet. I mean, I have high gloss black in my car, so I know exactly what it's like. Solution to that is just have a lint-free cloth in the car and just give it a wipe and just make sure that you don't scratch it. But having said that, it is quite nice. At least it's not really reflective shining into your eyes. So a quick note on the steering wheel. So everything in here on the instrument cluster is all digital driving displays, which is really good. Everything on the steering wheel, the actual buttons are buttons. They're not touch buttons or anything like that. So yeah, physical ones you can press and control. So really, really good. As this screen is all digital as well, you can even have your map appear over there. And Volvo are one of the very few manufacturers that allow Apple Maps to appear over here when you have CarPlay on the screen here, but more on that in a minute. Now, the reason why I said that this multimedia system is slightly different to other car manufacturers is notice it's got Google Maps. You might be thinking, Volvo must have paid quite a bit of money for that. Well, actually, they are actually running Android on their car multimedia system. Quite often, car manufacturers will try and design their own multimedia system, and they can sometimes be really good at it. Sometimes they can be really bad. And Volvo have just gone, do you know what? We're just going to put Android in here and Google Maps and give people what they want. And that is literally what they've done. So in here is literally Android, like a special Android system running on this. So there is no Android Auto on this. And you might think that's a kind of negative, but bear with me, because it is Android. It has Google Maps built in and a Play Store. You can even download other apps. And yes, I have heard and rumours you can download Waze as well. So yeah, you don't even need to connect to Android Auto. Not only you can't do it because it is Android, but it has everything you need anyway. And I know what you're thinking. Hang on. I've got an iPhone. How do I connect my phone? There is Apple CarPlay as well. I know that collaboration does sound a bit weird. This is Android running on here, but you can connect Apple CarPlay. Yeah, you can. It works. I've tried it, and that's what I've been using. The only thing I will say is slight negative. It is a wired Apple CarPlay, hence why I've got the cable. So it's not a wireless Apple CarPlay, but hey, it has it, and it's USB-C, and it charges your phone pretty quickly. So yeah, that's pretty good. So yeah, this multimedia system said it's literally running Android. So as it is running Android, you have Google Maps. Now, Google Maps is great. I've often run Apple Maps and Google Maps and Waze and tried them all out, and I do often find myself coming back to Google Maps just because of its reliability with search and live traffic and things like that. So yeah, no faults on that one at all. Just tap on search on the top right and type in where you want to go. Nice and easy. Now, in terms of operating everything else, down here on the bottom left is a menu button, takes you to everything the car can do. And then this button here, this kind of central button, is almost like a quick shortcuts of daily things you're going to use. So yes, normally you'd be on like the sat nav, for example, but say you want to change the music source you're listening to, just tap on this and it's like a quick kind of tap, nice big buttons to easily access the things that you're going to play. So I've just started the engine really quickly to show you the climate control. So climate control buttons are literally just here, along with heated seats and heated steering wheel, I might add as well. Again, that might be on options, so obviously have a look at those packages. But yeah, climate control, you literally just tap here to make it warmer and tap here to make it colder. That is as simple as I'd probably suggest it, but if you want more advanced settings, tap on the actual fan button, and then you can control all sorts of things there, from where the air's coming out, the fan speed, or if it's synced with the driver. So yeah, all sorts of things. And yes, it's not a misprint, there's actually a heated windscreen as well. So heated windscreen, heated steering wheel, pretty good spec. I'll say, I know this one that I've got here is, you know, one of the highest specifications, but the fact you can actually get it on a car on this price range is really good. Even things like the 360-degree camera, which will look a bit like this here. Now, the left image will be off at the moment just because I've got the door open with my camera over here. But yeah, literally you've got the different camera angles from the rear to the right-hand side, and then you can even see your wheel here. See the wheel on the top right there? That's really good for obviously parking like on like parallel parking next to the curb. So you never ever have to curb a wheel again. So yeah, pretty cool. So we'll turn that off just for now. So yeah, all round, Multimedia System's really good. I wouldn't say it's the largest screen in the world. Certainly on like a Volkswagen Tiguan, you get this massive one, 15-inch thing in the middle. But not everyone wants a big screen. You know, sometimes it might be a bit too much, whereas this is a bit more subtle, it's all built in, and yeah, gives you everything you want with an Android operating system, which is really good, with Google Maps, which is really good, and physical buttons on the steering wheel. So what more could you want? Right, up next, I think we better take this one for a drive and let you know how it is on the road. So, what's the XC40 like to drive? Well, I'd say when it comes to the engines, there are two to choose from. There's two petrol engines. One's called a B3 and one's called B4. They're both front wheel drive. One's 163 horsepower and then another 197 horsepower. So those 0 to 62s are going to be around 8.6 seconds and 7.6 seconds. But what's it like to drive? Well, having driven a few other kind of car manufacturers around the same price point of the ones I mentioned earlier, the problem is, I think these days, no one makes a bad car. They all drive really well. So it can sometimes be really difficult to choose between them. So it all comes down to individual circumstances and specs and availability and that sort of thing. But you won't be disappointed by the drive of this. I'd describe the engine setup that it's almost kind of like, it doesn't encourage you to drive quickly. So you have to press the accelerator pedal, you know, more than you have with some other car manufacturers I've driven to get it to go fast. It doesn't encourage you to drive fast. If you do put your foot down, it will go. But it's just designed to get you from A to B in a nice, luxurious way. And yeah, you certainly feel that with all the nice materials, of course, on the inside. But yeah, I wouldn't really say that it's a particularly fast one. I'm sure Volvo do have their fair size of faster cars, but it's just a nice car to get you from A to B. It's really nice. The headroom's great as well. The design, of course, on the inside. The multimedia system's really good as well. So there's not actually that much to dislike about it. Oh, just going to slow up for the donkeys and horses and ponies, and yeah, he's just going to walk in front of the road. He wants to come check out the XC40. Ah, well, this is obviously really good to show the hold feature, because this car has an A button just down here, and like most cars they have, you can turn it on and off and it will just hold here until it's obviously safe to go. Oh, he's actually come to check out the car. I should probably back off a bit so he doesn't damage the... Oh no, he's going. That's good. He actually set off the 360 camera, look. Right, he's gone. Okay, right, let's go. I guess that is one problem with filming in the New Forest, is that there are lots of... Yeah, I mean, look how many there are. Lots of horses and ponies. Anyway, I digress. yeah, this car's a really, really nice car to drive, and certainly if you're looking at, if you're watching this video and considering, you know, a car of this kind of size, you know, an entry-level SUV because you want a bit more space if you had a smaller car, definitely take one out for a drive. I've got to say, the ride is really, there's more horses. I was going to say, the ride is really, really good. Nice and soft suspension, and the engine doesn't encourage you to drive fast. A couple of pointers I should point out. I couldn't find a sport mode anywhere. So, you know, like some cars sometimes have like a drive selector, drive button mode where you can change it to sport mode. I couldn't see that here. Unless someone wants to point out in the comments that, Nick, it's right there, you fool, how could you miss it? You review cars all the time. I couldn't find it, so unless I'm going blind, I couldn't see a sport button. Some people might obviously like changing the drive modes, but I guess just all the economical power is available to you if you drive economically, and if you obviously plant your right foot, then of course it'll go really, really fast. There's the kick down button on the end of the accelerator pedal. The only other thing I picked up as well, which is a slight negative, is that the reversing camera, as good as it is, doesn't have a cover or anything. So, like for example, the other day when it was raining, as it always does in the UK, because all that water was flicking up from driving along a dual carriageway, you'll notice that there was all water over the lens because it's just exposed to the elements. A quick wipe easily fixes it, but it just is an exposed camera. It just does capture a bit of dirt off the road, especially during the winter. And the only other thing to note as well, of course, it is a wired CarPlay. Now, to be fair, although my own personal car does have wireless CarPlay, due to the nature of what I do with jumping in and out of cars all the time and using my phone to capture stuff, I do find using wired CarPlay better, and that way my phone's charged when I get there. But just for convenience wise, there's no wireless CarPlay in here. So a few pointers there I thought I'd mention. Well guys, that concludes this week's video. Oh, got to stop again for horses. In fact, I think that might have been the same one from a minute ago. I think it was. We can go around him now. But guys, thank you so much for watching. Of course, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button down below if you liked what you saw. And of course, I will see you all next week. Huge shout out as well to Ocean Automotive, as they're the people who helped supply this car so I can make this video for you guys. So I would not have been able to make this video without them. So go check them out. There's a link in the description down below. But guys, thank you so much. Until next time, see you then.